Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from ICPeace6968 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. And it says, am I the arsehole here for how I handled a prank my brother's fiance pulled on me? So, I know this isn't as dramatic as some of the posts here, but I'm curious for your opinions. My brother, 29 males, fiance, 24 female, has been trying to prank me, 23 male, forever. I don't get startled easily, so she has decided on her own to take up the challenge of being the person who successfully scares me. I never prank her back, but sometimes I'll play along with her attempts. She doesn't do this often. Previous pranks are hiding behind the door / car / in a closet and jumping out at me, so it's never anything elaborate. They've been together for 3 years. Never had any problems with them, but she tried to prank me last night and now my brother is upset about it. Both my brother and his fiance are currently crashing at my apartment because they're in the process of moving into their first home in my city. The prank. She hid under my bed while I was out for a run in the evening. When I got back, before I went into the shower, I was at my bedside table taking my watch off and dropping it on the charger. The room was dark except for my lamp, so I didn't notice anyone under my bed. She touched my foot. It was a really light grey, so it didn't register with me. I stepped back and squatted down so I could see under there a little. It was dark, but I could see long hair. A part of me just knew it was her because no one else would do this. I said something like, her name, I can see you under there. But who's the other one? This scared her. In a panic, she struggled to get out from under the bed, all while asking me, what do you mean? She scrambled out and slammed into me. She also screamed, which made my brother come into the room. She was in my arms. I take it, this is why he's mad. I tried to explain I was just fucking with her because she was clearly trying to prank me. He thinks I'm flirting with his fiance. But apparently, this has been going on for a while since these pranks began. I told him the pranks are his fiance's idea and he should be having this conversation with her, not me. It's been really awkward between us now. I have 2 more weeks with them. I feel like they're both blaming me and it's unfair. Should I apologize? But for what? I feel like I'm owed the apology. Am I being an arsehole? Shammy Dammy says, not the arsehole. Show them both the door of your house immediately. Lush Petal Doll says, seriously, that level of boundary crossing isn't a joke. It's a red flag. If she's pulling stunts like that now and he's defending it, they both clearly have no respect for you or your space. Opie isn't flirting with brother's fiance, but she sure as hell is. And brother Dearest started to notice that too. But that's something he should discuss with his wife-to-be and not the victim of her harassment. Stumbling to find yourself in your crush's arms who strongly holds you is such a cheesy rom-com trait. ACM says not the arsehole, so it's okay for his girlfriend to constantly prank you, but the one time you turn it around on her, and all of a sudden you're the bad guy. Your brother should have put a stop to this a long time ago and stopped enabling his girlfriend's shitty behavior. Tell him that she is no longer allowed in your home, and frankly, he should not be either until both of them learn how to be actual adults. Opie says it honestly feels like she told him a version of events to save her own ass that's made him develop a misunderstanding or grudge against me. I don't know what it is though, because he's given me the cold shoulder until I apologize. But I have nothing to apologize for. Shake my head. So, it was a couple of days after this that OP came in with their update and said, I mentioned in a comment, but I have a boyfriend. If it matters, I like women too. My boyfriend has met my brother and his fiance. I didn't think flirting was something I would be accused of given my relationship, so when my brother brought it up, it felt abrupt and I was blindsided. I spoke with my brother privately since his feelings are more important to me. He said this all came out because ever since they moved into my apartment, his fiance has been making comments about how I maintain my place, handle chores, the cooking I do for us, how I'm quick to fix things, that I make furniture, I do that for a living, etc. He felt she was comparing us, and her comments started to build up. He apologized for directing his frustration at me instead of communicating with her, which she then turned around and did. I don't know how that went. She refused to apologize to me initially because she claims I flirted with her too. But she couldn't come up with a single example of the behavior. It doesn't exist. As straightforwardly as I could, I made it clear to both of them that I'm not interested in her, and if she can't apologize, she can leave. I entertained the pranks before because they were harmless, but they're off the table now. I didn't have a rule about going into my room. I only told them to knock first, if I'm in there. Today, she approached me to apologize. I told her I know it's insincere, but I'll accept it because I love my brother. I hope they break up. The top commenter on that one said, not the arsehole. All of this drama may have had one positive outcome. It may have saved your brother from a lifetime with this piece of shit girl. Nice Rat says, well, after seeing this update, it looks like I was correct. Just a bit crazier than the flirting and pranking since she's bringing up all OP's good qualities and comparing him against her own fiancé. Hope he thinks long and hard about marrying her. I could just imagine down the road, if there's a rough patch, she's going to find someone else to compare him to, and it won't be family. And there was a whole bunch of comments below this one just saying, kick them out anyway. And other people saying that the brother should definitely dump her. But what do you guys make of this situation? Was she flirting with OP? Was she not? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Am I Overreacting subreddit from Lee24. There is a trigger warning of threats about committing suicide, so if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. It says, am I overreacting? My boyfriend asked me for a paternity test as a joke. Pretty much what the title says. I have a 4-month-old son with my boyfriend who I've been with for a little over 2 years. I'm 21 and he's 26 if that matters. Last night, he worked overtime so he didn't get home until midnight. He gave me a hug and then just randomly asked me if our son was really his. Or should we get him tested to be sure? I was pissed and I woke up today still pissed. I talked to him about it this morning and he said I shouldn't be mad because it wasn't a real question and it was supposed to be funny. But I'm not laughing. I'm angry. I've never cheated on him before and I've never given him a reason to think I was, so the whole thing is just really odd. Am I right to be this angry or am I overreacting here? He swears he didn't mean it, but he hasn't apologized. And if it really was a joke, it wasn't funny at all. Is this enough to leave him over? OP added some of their own comments below this. OP responded to someone who was downvoted in the comments and said, if he had asked me 4 months ago, just to have at it, and it was a real conversation where he explained his reasoning, then why not? I'm more angry because it feels like he thinks I would have another man's baby and pass it off as his. New Mum says, my husband makes this joke in a self-depreciating type of way. The baby is too cute, too smart, too social, etc. OP says, this I get. Sometimes we say, the baby is so cute, how are we his parents? And stuff like that. But this was just straight up, is this kid mine? And it really threw me off. Run It By Me Once says, hate to be that one, but is he possibly projecting? Seems to be a pattern that when they're up to no good, they get in first with accusations. OP says, I hadn't even thought of this. Then OP responds to someone else saying, it's not that I think he's cheating, I just hadn't thought of the possibility that he could be projecting, and that's why he brought it up. It's not really fair though, and if he was cheating, I'd have no way to know. But I'd still be expected to spend money on a paternity test that I already know the results of. It's always shocking the amount of projection we see in these stories around stuff like this, like there is the possibility of him actually cheating and projecting all this onto her. I always think, like, how'd you come back from saying something like that? You've basically just accused your partner of cheating. I just don't see a way back from that. But OP came in with a new post the next day and said, yesterday, I made a post asking if I was overreacting to my boyfriend randomly asking me for a paternity test. And I got a bunch of comments that I meant to reply to, but more happened last night, so I figured I would just post an update here for anyone who was interested. My plan was to just explain to him why I was hurt, and then ask him for his reasoning for asking for the test, and why he waited 4 months to just randomly start questioning if he's my child's father, or if it was just a joke like he said. ask him why he thought that would be funny in the first place. I just wanted a real conversation. But what happened was, I told him how hurt and angry I felt and why, and he threatened to end his own life if I left him. I hadn't even threatened to break up with him or said anything about ending the relationship. So that's a wrap on that. I will get him a paternity test if he really wants one. But the relationship is over. I can't be with someone who would try to manipulate me into staying with them like that. The plan right now is to get everything in order for me and my son and start looking for places to live. Thank you to everyone who read the original post and took the time to give me advice. A lot of you thought he was cheating and projecting, but I don't know if that's the case, and honestly right now, I don't even think I want to know. I appreciate all the feedback and sorry this is so long. Commenter says to OP, that's the right idea. The I'll kill myself if you break up with me guys are awful. It is a little surprising it took until this point for him to pull this bad behavior. Were there no signs earlier in the relationship? OP says there may have been signs that I missed. He's never threatened to harm himself before though. We've had small arguments before, but this behavior is new for him. OP responds to someone else and says, at this point it's not about how I feel about the paternity test thing, it's how I feel about the threats to end his life. Would you want to be with someone who would say that? OP responds to someone else and says, things happen. We knew each other for a long time before we got together. My baby is so loved. He's happy and healthy and always my priority. I'd rather raise him solo in a safe environment than stay with a man who would threaten to end his own life in the face of any serious issues. A complete family is only ideal if both parents feel safe, loved, and secure together. My baby will be just fine. OP on her soon-to-be ex, and says, despite what he said, I'm wanting to help ensure that if he is really serious about taking his own life, he gets the help and support he needs, and still be able to see his son. I have no interest in completely shutting him out of our baby's life if he proves he is mentally stable. And there was a lot of people after this one saying, oh yeah, he was cheating, but what do you guys make of that situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit from SadWife1233, and it says, Am I the arsehole here for wanting simple divorce because I'm not ready to take my husband's orphan siblings? I am 24 female, and my husband 24. Both met at our university when we were both 18. Got married at the age of 21. I run a bridal store and he runs a hardware shop. My husband has two siblings who are 12 and 10, and his parents struggled fertility issues for a decade and then had two children later. His parents died 2 months back in an accident and left a house but not much money due to bad investments. My husband took his siblings in and I respect him for that, but it isn't something that I signed up for at such a young age. Our whole budget has gone to toss and he will be responsible for their education and other things in the future. Yes, we both earn well, but still expensive foreign trips, my high-end lifestyle and other things need money. Our own plan was to have 5 years of marriage and plan a child around the age of 27. I realized it won't be something I want at this point with too much household work and 2 kids to care for. I asked for divorce and I've moved out. There are not much assets as we're saving for a house, and I will grant him an easy divorce. I love him, but I am selfish, and at 24, I don't want to do all this. I want to travel and live my life. It hurts, but this isn't something I want. I've moved out and he is asking me to solve this. I can't ask him to give away his siblings to other relatives or social care. I'm not that horrible person, but I also don't want to be responsible for them. My parents and siblings are saying that hardships are a part of life and I should give my marriage a chance. I don't know. I know I will be very resentful if I force myself into this. Edits, need to add, people are talking about my vows with him. My vows and commitment was or is with him. If he was in some accident and had lost his limbs, I would have taken care of him because I'm committed to him. So please stop trying to put the equivalence with me not taking responsibility for his siblings. I wasn't committed to his family, I was committed to him only. I'm 24, not ready to roleplay a mother role at this age. Edit, I'm depressed with all the you're the arseholes, but it's okay. That's your opinion. I belong to a third world country. I'm expected to take care of children. Men barely contribute in child raising. Indeed, I'm not mature enough to raise preteens at this age. Am I the arsehole here? Commenter says, bottom line is that this is your life and your choice to make. Whether or not you're an arsehole for making it doesn't matter. You will need to live with your decision whichever way you go and whatever anyone else thinks of your decision. Throwaway says, it is none of their fault. It is just life. She didn't sign up for this and neither did he. The kids are innocent and so are the adults. It is actually brave for OP to move out now, then leave them later, and someone to pretend they are okay and stay. Rough Cucumber says, yep, but I don't judge her for wanting to remove herself from this situation. There are many questions here, and while we are hearing it from one side, we can only take her word, i.e. the facts of the case. 24 is rather young to have to take on teenage children. They can be difficult to deal with. One has to be quite compassionate to take on the care and well-being of others. I feel bad for the husband as he now has to care for his siblings, but he also can't expect his wife to do the same. He did the right thing though. Distribution Jew says, no one's an arsehole here. You're being honest about what you want, and forcing yourself into a life you don't want would only lead to resentment. Your husband didn't choose this situation either, but he's stepping up for his siblings because they need him. It's heartbreaking, but it's better to leave now than to stay and make everyone miserable. That said, your timing might feel incredibly cold to your husband. He just lost his parents and now his wife is leaving too. While you have every right to prioritize your happiness, don't expect him to see you as anything but selfish in this moment. It's okay to admit this isn't the life you want, but be prepared for people to judge you for it. Opie says, but I didn't know how long I could have delayed the inevitable. Delaying it made no sense to me, because it's better not to give fake hope for a year and pull the plug later on. And it was about a week later that OP came in with their update and said I had to delete my original because I got depressed by the comments. But later I realized I'm not going to lie to myself and I can't please everyone. Also, I will make some points clear in the comments. I didn't factor cultural differences between West and Asian expectations in marriage. I was called a gold digger. I make my own money and way more than him. No, I have nothing to dig here. Bridal stores are multi-billion businesses in my country. I make good money. Also, I don't know how tough it is to open a business in the USA and West. But I started my store during last year of college as attendance wasn't mandatory. Easy to get a bank loan and my father gave his empty shop to open it. My husband got a lease from his own relative, promoted our businesses through Insta ads, and it worked out. Third world countries also have upper middle class people you know, who can afford foreign vacations. So please clear your facts. 2. People called me names and that's their perspective. I agree, but I would rather be true to myself. I'm 24 and I'm not ready for such hard tasks at this age, raising preteens, paying for their school, college, etc. And I would have to delay my own motherhood, which I want in 3 to 5 years, when I'm mentally prepared. People wish me to be infertile. I hope you grow up. Having a kid when I'm mentally prepared is different from raising preteens. Yeah, I failed at my own vows I guess, but staying in resentful marriage is gonna harm us more in the long run. Note, when I start motherhood, still I'll be doing most child caring because of cultural expectations from women. So I don't want to lose my years raising kids all the time. And I want to be in a position mentally to be a mother, which isn't now. 3. People said I'm selfish for not raising kids. Know the facts that my husband would barely help in any household task. He already does it rarely, and I'm not ready to be a servant for the next decade. This is not what I want for myself. I know men in your country do 50-50 chores, and that is a good thing. I wish I could say the same, but I'll be responsible for their care. Well, he will only contribute financially. Anyway, I and my ex met for final discussions. He asked me to come back and take on motherly duties for his siblings. I refused. I said I understand. He can't go back and leave his siblings in others' care. I won't make the divorce process tough for him. We started crying. He said he can't handle all the housework in his shop. Though we have house help. He feels overwhelmed and he said I can do this better. I said no, I'm not going to do that. He got angry and said it is best we divorce and he can remarry to some poor and less educated woman who can help his household than someone educated who can't even help, and called me some colorful names. Randy, equivalent of a whore. It pinched, but I didn't argue and we started divorce proceedings soon. I know it's tough for him, but I don't want to be the bitter mother figure. have some savings which we will split. That's it. The whole process is mentally draining, and I'm going to take some breaks from dating again and find myself. I got married too young because of puppy love during college days. I wasn't ready for all this, and I want to be mentally mature enough next time I marry. Yes, I want kids and I will take care of motherly duties when the time comes, but at this point in life, that isn't going to happen. I want to enjoy the fruits of my labor for some years before I give up my life for my children. The sacrifices it requires. I'm not up for it. This is the final update, and I'll delete this because I know I'm going to get abused here. That's okay, but I'm not ready to be sacrificed at the altar. Dustquake says, yep, that comment from him about marrying a less educated woman. You escaped the life he planned for you. That was going to happen whenever kids come along. I would suggest finding someone less traditional before you remarry. Marriage and children shouldn't be a death sentence to your life, and prenuptial agreements are good ideas. Opie says we don't have prenups here. And the final commenter says, I think you're smart for getting out early. You know exactly what's coming. So I think it's great that you're prioritizing your life, future children, and happiness. It may have gone differently if you knew their care wouldn't be solely be your responsibility. It's crazy he reinforced that while simultaneously begging you back. The first part of this story, I was like, obviously I can't blame him for taking on his siblings when he did, and I couldn't blame OP for wanting to step out. Becoming responsible for preteens is just a huge life change that would just change your life completely, obviously. And then OP was talking about the cultural expectations as well, and I was just like, nah. And then he was talking about remarrying some poor and less educated women who could help his household. It was just like, no. Calling her slurs, yeah, sod that shit. But what do you guys make of this situation? What do you think about how it played out? Did anything in particular stand out from you from the post? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.